WWE is teasing a massive change for Jade Cargill that is absolutely flying under the radar, and you may not even have noticed it. But in today's video, not only am I going to be bringing it up, I'm going to be talking about what this could be in store for Jade Cargill, because it would be an absolute game changer, especially coming off of her devastating loss at SummerSlam, right? It all seemed like things were lined up hook, line, and sinker, at least for me, that Jade Cargill was going to actually walk away with the Women's Championship at SummerSlam when she stepped into the ring with Tiffany Stratton. It looked like all the stars had aligned for a major title change. The WWE was setting it up for a massive, massive moment for Jade Cargill, only for it to poof, disappear in smoke. After winning the Queen of the Ring tournament, beating Asuka in the finals, coming off of a really good feud with Naomi, picking up 2 wins, well, Jade Cargill was on her way to SummerSlam, and WWE threw a major curveball at wrestling fans when they opted to have Jade Cargill not win the Women's Championship, not beat Tiffany Stratton, but instead have her lose. Coming out of that show, there was a lot of questions, a lot of doubt about Jade Cargill. Where should she go from here? What will she do? Will she continue to be a babyface trying to mount her way back to the title picture? Would she turn heel and blame the fans for her shortcomings? What would Jade Cargill do? Well, WWE answered those questions, but also gave us a new question, right? If you look at it, that's where today's video picks up, because Jade Cargill was involved in a segment on SmackDown that has fans talking, speculating, and wondering, would this really be the right fit for Jade Cargill? And I absolutely think it would be. So what was that segment? Well, there was a backstage segment on SmackDown that hinted at the formation of a new women's faction involving Jade Cargill, our U.S. Women's Champion Julia, and Kiana James. Misha was also involved in this segment, potentially setting up future interactions over championship opportunities. So the segment began when Tiffany Stratton was speaking with Kathy Kelly backstage about her 216-day reign as champion. Stratton said that she planned to continue defending and retain the championship. Now, this is when Jade Cargill appeared, reminding Stratton that her foot on the rope had prevented Jade Cargill from winning the title previously. Now, Cargill said that the story would be much different next time, but Stratton replied that while the story might change, the outcome would remain the same before walking away. This led to Kiana James entering the shot, accompanied by Julia. James dismissed Kelly, saying that they were off the record despite the cameras rolling. She handed Cargill a business card suggesting that she give her a call if she was serious about taking the championship from Stratton. Cargill responded that she would do it on her own terms and in her own way. James encouraged her to keep the card, and Julia added, just in case, before leaving with James. Misha then appeared holding a kendo stick and asked Cargill if she planned to use the card. When Cargill said no and handed it over, Misha remarked that she might call James herself to get a title shot. Now, this has planted seeds. This has fans talking of, would Jade Cargill go with Kiana James? Would she go with Julia? Would they form a new alliance? Or would Jade Cargill stay off the beaten path of an alliance led by Kiana James, who, let's be real, hasn't done anything in WWE and is on the main roster for whatever reason? Now, Julia, obviously top star U.S. Women's Champion, that's a good fit. And Misha has always been underutilized and never really over, despite the fact that she's actually pretty talented inside of the ring, but lacks kind of it, persona, charisma, etc. I don't think Jade Cargill should go with this group. I don't think an alliance with Julia makes sense. I certainly don't think a alliance, going on the same page with Kiana James makes sense for Jade Cargill. She's an alpha male. She is someone that is a dominant star, kind of stands on her own, is her own person, etc., etc. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me why Jade Cargill would take the advice of Kiana James, considering Kiana James hasn't done anything in this business, has no real leverage for her, can't really do anything for her behind the scenes, even in storyline point, right? Like, usually a manager comes involved and says, hey, I can get you this match, or I can get you this opponent, or I can get you this opportunity, or I can get you this segment. Like, I can do the talking for you. I can handle your business affairs for you. I can get you things for you. That's why you should align with me. Well, Kiana James hasn't done that, right? Like, Julia was women's champion before she met Kiana James. Like, she's U.S. champion. She doesn't need Kiana James. She found the success by her own. Jade Cargill, obviously, former two-time women's sassy champion, Queen of the Ring tournament winner, all of these things, doesn't really need Kiana James. So what is the upside to pairing with her, right? Like, there's no real reason to do that. And so when you start looking at it like that and you start like pinpointing and picking apart like actual factual reality-based things that you could do in a storyline, which is traditionally done in wrestling, and you're not doing it, then I have to question what we're doing in the first place. I have to wonder what we're doing in the first place. That is my question. That is my issue. That is my concern. And that is why I don't think we're getting Jade Cargill to going with a new faction, going with an alliance with Kiana James and Julia. It just doesn't make sense. Now, would I like to see a match between Julia and Jade Cargill? Yeah, that would be a banger. That'd be an epic match. That is a money match. You're talking about 2 stars that can go, 2 stars that would absolutely get people buzzing, get people talking. So if you want to do it like that, if you're setting the seeds, if you're planting the seeds of a Julia versus Jade Cargill match for the U.S. Women's Champion, and the idea that Jade Cargill could go after the Women's U.S. Championship and dethrone and beat and feud with someone like Julia, okay, I'm interested. Sign me up for that. But other than that, I don't see a reason why Jade would go with Kiana. Now, here's something that I have not ruled out. Is this setting the seeds, or planting the seeds, if you will, for a feud with Kiana James and Jade Cargill? Okay, I can see that, right? Typical manager type role where, hey, I can be you, you turn me down, how dare you, you don't know what you're missing type thing, that arrogant type of thing. And then maybe Mishin turns heel and goes with the Kiana. They kind of draw Julia from that. And, Mishin and Jade Cargill and Kiana James, they then feud. Okay, I can see that. I'm okay, actually, with a Jade Cargill, Kiana James type storyline or a feud or a program for a month, because it gives something Jade can do on television, which is always what you want. It also gives her an opponent in which she can beat. I'm interested in that. So if you just want to give someone Jade that can beat and can feud and kind of reset her, re-rack it, instead of going, right into a rematch with Tiffany, which it doesn't seem to be. While I would like to see a match with her and Julia, I don't think Jay is being Julia at this stage of the game. And I don't think Jade Cargill should go and lose back-to-back title programs. I don't think that's a good look either. So they're in a very, very interesting